Welcome to Sweeping the Country. I'm your host, Derek Walker. My co-host, Mr. Jimmy the Great Carter. Hi, Jimmy.
Oh, hello, hello. You know, one thing I was watching people getting irritated with TV.
Okay.
Those that are still watching TV getting
How
irritated.
so? I mean, how what do you
Well,
mean?
one thing, and in fact, I don't know if it's irritated, but I've heard people complain.
Okay.
When do you stop covering? And I've had to make this decision as a news producer, as an executive producer, you know, and everything. When do you stop on a moment by moment basis covering the Nancy Guthrie story?
Oof. You know, that's an interesting thing because I think this is just me. Tell me, you've worked the job, so you know. But just as a consumer, I think some people are different. Like I've had enough already. But
I've had enough already.
Yeah,
too.
way enough. But some people still are knee deep in it, you know. And
I know that Fox is not stupid.
Yeah.
And they're doing it more than anybody. And I'm sure that some type of research numbers, digital numbers,
Yeah.
something is every time they do that, the numbers go up.
They
and I'm
spike,
sure
you know.
they spike. And
Yeah.
so, and I know that people already at year number 1.5 have a tremendous amount of Trump fatigue.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know, at the pace that was going on every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've seen them kind of slack down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Up there.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they've slacked off the ICE thing in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people have a lot of different opinions about that. But all in all, I think that the reviews on them were not real cool. Even though I think it was style over substance. I didn't mind what they were doing substantively, but they didn't like their style.
As a news director, I mean, you've done that. I mean, as a news director, do you get the statistics and then you go, hey, this
No, this is a new world.
Okay,
I mean, we used to not, we do get the last number of years,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't know how long, if it's 10, but maybe more than that, and maybe more sophisticated all the time. You know, you get overnights.
Yeah,
What they are, and those I don't think are very accurate, honestly. I mean, they're, you know, I don't necessarily believe in the voodoo of audience research. It's all they have, but you know, they pick out somehow scientifically X number of people to call. You've been a victim of those things.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I've never really. I think it's voodoo. It's great if you win. It's not if you don't.
Yeah.
And I think it's a voodoo science, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that whole audience research thing. You might as well just go outside and see how the wind is blowing.
Right, throw a dart and just be like.
But the Guthrie thing, I mean, yes, it's a fascinating story. It's a kidnapping with no motive, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a bungled burglary, why did you take her with you?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
You know, if me and you, and this has been proven, you know, hundreds of thousands of times before,
Mm-hmm.
somebody that wants to murder somebody. Well, did he go in there? I'm assuming it's a he. And for our purposes, we'll just say he's a he unless we're proven different.
Okay.
Are we going to decide that we're going to go in there and take this woman with us if we're going to burglarize the place? If this is a hit, then what are you going to do? You know, because if it's a hit, they sure were sloppy.
Yeah.
Going in there, dilly-dallying at the front door, trying to figure out, you know, what was going on. And it's a story with me and you couldn't murder. If we got mad at somebody and wanted to murder them tomorrow,
Yeah.
I don't think we'd know what to do with the body. And if we did, we'd probably get caught.
100%.
I mean, it's too hard.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, unless you're a pro and you know, like the mob, and they have a lot of experience in doing things like that. But even then, as experienced as they may be, they don't always succeed. But there's a lot of people missing in this country, and they end up dead somehow. You know?
It's very fascinating. I have been, since this whole thing started, one thing is bothering me, and you've covered stories like this your whole life. I know you've done, you know, all kinds of different abductions and murders and stuff like that from a news angle. One thing is bugging the heck out of me, and that is if you or I decided to kidnap or murder or whatever it is somebody today, would we use the front door?
Well, and we think, you know, because again,
I mean, honestly,
everybody in their conjectures are not using, we have not been told the full story.
I agree. Yeah.
We have not been told really how the person got in, and they've got to know that
They've got to
at this
know.
point.
Yeah.
And I don't think he went in the front door. I think he went around the back to one of the sliding doors or whatever. But did he break those doors, or did he jimmy the lock, or what did
We
they
don't
do?
know. Yeah, we don't know.
And we don't know. Did he tear up the place while they were in there? How did they wake? Did they just go in there and wake her up, hit her on the head, and wake
Yeah,
her? I
right.
mean, what was the deal with this? Or did she surprise him, or what?
Yeah.
And it's just the whole thing is just bizarre. It's
I
just
agree.
and then where are all these gloves coming up on the side of the road?
Yeah.
The day they came back said the DNA does not match the DNA in the house. And they finding all these gloves on the side of the road. Some of them were investigators. What kind of investigator leaves their gloves out there
Right.
at a crime scene,
Right.
basically, because the whole place is a crime scene right
Right.
now.
They're just
until
littering in the
but
desert.
stupid. I
Yeah.
mean, who litters?
Right.
I mean, the whole thing just seems like, even the cops are not prepared for something like this.
Which is
They're
their
not prepared
job.
for the entire nation, the world,
Mm-hmm.
to be looking at a story. None of us are prepared for that kind of scrutiny, for that kind of, intense public hawk, eagle eye staring.
Yeah.
The United States government, ICE people weren't prepared for that. The Border Patrol wasn't prepared for that. None of these people, that governor in Minnesota wasn't really prepared for that. He got out of politics altogether. He's had it.
Is that is that indicative of what we're doing now with social media and the ability to be on top of everybody all the time? I mean,
Well, it's true. Yes, they are on top of everything all the time, and it's like when we went through a period of this in this country in the 70s,
okay.
and that's when everybody had a police scanner.
Oh
A
yeah.
lot of people had police scanners,
Yeah.
and they knew everything the police and the fire department were doing, moment by moment. People were
Yeah, that's
hooked
right.
on those scanners. In fact, there was even a magazine about it. I mean, there's a police scanner magazine type deal to give you frequencies of all the people that had two-way radios,
Right.
whether it was taxis or the phone company, whoever,
Yeah.
had it. I know that Roger McGuinn of the Byrds, Jim McGuinn, he was really into doing it. And I was too. And we were at a dinner together, and it came up somehow. And then we, oh my God, you do this, we did this, and we started sharing, things that we had heard.
Oh, that's
and that's
fun.
back when you could hear phone calls.
Ooh, boy.
Did you know that? That you could hear cell phone calls in the early days of cell phones, when I think they were an 800 megahertz channel. Instead of being cellular. Digital.
And you could
they
listen
were not, they
in?
were just basically a radio channel.
Yeah.
And you could listen in. And I heard some people one night calling, there had been a stampede at the Municipal Auditorium in downtown Nashville, and people had gotten hurt, maybe even killed.
Wow.
And I heard the guy, one of the promoters, call his lawyer
Oh my
from that
gosh.
phone. And I heard him talking about, man, we had to, he was just pleading to
Oh
everything.
my God. I don't
to
think
telling
people
his
knew
lawyer, I
that.
heard that. And you heard a lot, everybody heard, people cheating on their girlfriends or their wives on there, talking to their sugar babies on there.
Well, I remember back. I'm trying to think.
And so you were just listening in the calls, and people didn't know they were being listened in on.
I'm trying to think what year it was when it happened. It had to be 93, 92, 93. My wife and I were home, and we had one of those Uniden. I just remember the brand. It was a cordless phone.
Yeah.
It wasn't a cellular phone. It was just a cordless.
And you were getting somebody else's calls.
I picked up my neighbor's baby monitor, and we listened to them have a fight. And,
Oh boy!
And be
Well,
we
you can
hung up.
imagine what it was. They went on to another technology after
Yeah,
a while.
thank
But there were a
goodness.
few years there when we could listen to phone calls from the car. We could listen to, the police, would freak out because, I used to listen to it and respond to the scene as a news person.
Yeah.
And I often, because I had the scanner in my car,
Yeah.
and some people had I had them all. I had all kinds of scanners. And I would get there before the cops a lot of times. I would
Interesting.
get there before a lot of people's. One reason I became an EMT.
Yeah.
Because I was getting to these scenes and people were hurting
And you had to
dying.
do something. Yeah.
I answered a drowning call, and there was a 3 or 4 year old little girl that had drowned, and I heard it on the scanner, and I got there, and I was the first one there.
Oh, Jimmy.
And the maintenance man had pulled her out of the pool. She had driven her tricycle into the pool,
Oh.
and so she was not breathing.
Oh
And so
no.
the cop got there about the same time, and I had him start. We were doing CPR together, and trying to find out more information because it was cold water, so that was good
Yeah.
because you could survive, more chances of that. And we couldn't, she was little. We couldn't. We just kept doing the CPR because of the child. You don't just do that
Yeah.
real hard. You're doing it, but you just gotta be doing the heart thing and doing the mouth to mouth. Ambulance got there, scooped her up, and ran to the ambulance. Got her in there. We took off. Good. The shorter version is she started breathing at the hospital.
Oh, I'm glad
they
there's a
got her.
happy
We heard
ending.
her cry. We heard her cry at the
Oh.
hospital. It's one of the greatest. And she's alive today.
Yeah.
In fact, she has written me. She came in. Her father brought
I
her to the
love it.
radio station
Yeah.
after she recovered from pneumonia.
Oh wow.
And then
Oh,
as she's
wow.
grown up, and she's got children of her own. And she found me through Facebook
Wow.
and contacted me through there. Wrote me a real nice letter.
Well, yeah, you saved her life. That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sad.
It's a great story. That's one of my.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I wasn't put on here for any other purpose, it was that.
Yeah.
All right.
Golly.
So anyway, listening to people on there, and people didn't get to do that for very long periods of time.
Yeah.
But that's where we are now. It's looking over it's listening to the baby monitor from next door.
Always.
We are all like vultures on a fence listening to this story when
Yeah.
Nancy got. We're like a bunch of buzzards up there hanging around. I'm included. You are, all of us that are listening to this have been listening to the Guthrie story. We care about it. We've all got mothers. We all relate. Not really, but we, by the grace of God, go I. So glad I'm not going through something like that.
Exactly.
We say,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a lot of those stories over the kidnapping of Elizabeth Smart. I mean, we could go on and on of all the things we care about. There are the continuing dramas.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them end up good, some of them end up bad. This one, I just feel I was never necessarily a great fan of Samantha Guthrie. I was neutral toward her at best.
I think
on
I
the
was.
Today
Yeah.
Show.
Yeah.
But now I feel so much for her. I hope her career's not ruined because of this.
Yeah.
If she's so emotionally, and she looks like she's been
Wreck. Yeah.
a wreck.
I agree.
What's going to be her mental health after this? Will she be able to continue on the light and airy, happy talk Today Show?
Yeah.
I don't know. She's going to need some time off, a year.
Yeah.
Probably. After this is terrible. And for this whole family not to know where their mama is.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible.
And think of all the people. And I was trying to look up the stat a minute ago, and I got distracted. But how many people are missing persons in this country? There are a lot of people. More than we could ever imagine. This is why the police don't even take it seriously. They won't look, for X number of hours.
All right, you ready for this?
The Amber Alerts that come out, are often a parent or somebody, and then people just go crazy and run off and change their mind.
All right, you ready for this number? In the United States, approximately 600,000 people are reported missing annually, with figures sometimes ranging from 530 to over 750,000. The FBI and other sources are giving those numbers. Now, while the vast majority of these cases are resolved quickly, around 100,000 individuals remain missing at any given time. So right now, 100,000 people.
100,000. And then people get mad, because people are spending so much time with Nancy Guthrie. And how is one person's value in this country? How can one person's value be any more worth than somebody else? And they're not.
They're not.
But it's just how the world plays out.
Well, I will say this:
it's just how the world plays out.
when it's a prominent person, there seems to be more attention. So obviously the news gets more hits and it's going to get covered more. If Joe Bob Johnson, I don't know who that is, was abducted tomorrow and nobody else knew who that was.
We wouldn't probably care so much about Joe Bob Johnson.
Yeah.
But the reason we care about this is it's somebody that we sort of feel like we know peripherally.
Okay, fair. Yeah, fair.
For being on television.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
We all have a mama.
Yeah.
And we've all, maybe many of us have had an older mama.
Yeah.
And how somebody would dare hurt a defenseless older woman with a pacemaker, how subhuman that is. Because I want this person executed, hung in this town square the
Yeah.
day after they really know that's
No,
who it is. I
I
mean,
agree. I mean, she's
I want that
vulnerable.
kind of stuff. I want,
Yeah.
I want old time justice,
Yeah.
on somebody who would do something. It's like hurting a baby to me. You don't hurt elder people. You don't hurt anybody, but you sure don't hurt babies, and you sure don't hurt. And that's why people are raising so much Cain. And I have to remind myself of this, of why a lot of people at least care so much about the Epstein thing, because it has been sold that story was about underage
Young
girls in many
girls. Yeah.
cases,
Yeah.
of older men taking advantage of younger age girls, with rich people taking advantage of poor people, with age taking advantage
I
of people.
think you just hit
And
it.
I think that's what a lot of it is.
I think it's vulnerability, right? You look at these people and you go, they're vulnerable people. They,
Yeah, and
you
it's
know,
just jealous. It's people don't like when rich people take advantage of
there's definitely
of,
that.
of poor people.
Yeah.
And and that's what this really is. It's a lot of rich guys,
Yeah,
these
that's true.
these young girls that are just, don't they're not in Kansas anymore. And I've seen it happen,
Yeah.
To people that I really know in real life,
Yeah.
that has occurred to. So that's why people care about that. I think it's become a witch hunt
Mm-hmm.
where they're going after somebody today I read that bought, long as after Epstein died or something like this, they bought a farm in New Mexico that Epstein used to own. And they're somehow sullying that because they bought something that had Epstein's name on it, that after he died, I mean, it's just a witch hunt. It's like the cancel thing,
Yeah.
with Me Too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that got to be ridiculous as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Epstein thing is pretty ridiculous. I mean, yeah, anybody that did something to a underage girl, you probably get called out at some point. But there's some other things that have happened in here that just have gotten, ridiculous. But
Mm-hmm.
now here's something: our tolerance. We're running out of tolerance in this country for anybody who has a differing opinion than we do.
That is fair. I agree with that.
This week, Savannah Chrisley, and I'm not much on the Chrisleys, and
Yeah,
I
I know
didn't
who
really
they are.
understand why Trump, whatever he did, pardoned
Pardon.
them,
Yeah. Pardon.
because they need to be in prison. Bank fraud and several other things they had done,
Mm-hmm.
but he got them both out of prison because Savannah, wooed him and made a big case that he did it. Now, people are not happy that she is on there filling in for somebody else on The View this week. And she is, talking about, it was right that Trump did this for various reasons. They do not like it at all that someone is having a right of center viewpoint on that show.
It's not
And
that
that's
kind
what-
of show.
And that
Yeah.
is the show. And that show was invented for people to have two different viewpoints, not for everybody to be on the same birds on a row like they are now with all those women have the same viewpoint. And maybe somebody has a slightly different, but
Yeah.
not much.
Yeah.
It's just mostly parents parenting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Barbara Walters' original idea was to have people have someone on the right, somebody on the left, and
I
somebody in the
remember
middle.
when it was that way, and you actually would
Yeah.
have arguments
Not
or
anymore.
disagreements on the show where one of the opinions was total polar opposite. Let's say of Whoopi Goldberg. Let's say
Can't do that anymore.
Hasselbeck and Goldberg would go back and forth. If that
I
was true.
think Fox is to blame for a little bit of this.
Wow. Yeah.
because,
Not anymore. I can't even watch it.
I think CNN was not some left-wing loon news organization when they started. No way.
It was just a news.
No more than
organization.
anybody else. The New York Times and the big city newspapers in general have leaned to the left in my lifetime. The TV networks, yes, they all had editors and producers that were leaning to the left. If being for the civil rights movement is leaning to the left, I think you'd say that, but not really. But I mean, all in all, they were on the right side of history. But that started there. Then Fox okay, I guess they found out that if we're going to compete against them, we're going to have to be more of right here leaning to the right.
Yeah.
And then people liked that, because remember Rush Limbaugh was on there early on.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I remember.
And it got too much. He didn't want to do it. It was too much work or something. He didn't want to do all that. But he was on there. Bill O'Reilly was on there. Who else was on there early? And Sean Hannity was on there early on, but they had quite the that shut CNN down, and then
Yeah.
MSNBC, and then CNN started going. They've got like 400,000 people in the daytime or something,
Is it?
and not even a million. It's bad. I mean, they're ready to stink,
Golly.
and they've just don't because they tried to keep they're bad. And then MSNBC, I don't understand, how they operate. Although Rachel Maddow gets over a million a night,
she's their
she's
heavy
not
hitter.
number one in her time period, but she is fighting Jesse Waters and some of those other people like that. So, but people, they're either leaning left or they're leaning right. And there's no room to be in the middle.
Yeah,
And I heard that in talk radio years ago. I felt like I was more of a middle of the road person. On some issues, I'm left. Some issues, I'm right. I'm pro police, but I'm pro military.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any room for being a moderate.
It's interesting to think back because you go back to I'm just pulling up some of these old papers that were somewhat political in the 1800s.
Oh yeah,
they were very
yellow journalism and all that stuff. They were extremely political, but there was also more than one paper.
Yeah, there were a bunch of papers. Yeah, there were a bunch, and somehow they've consolidated into these one or two per state. Papers, and then they've kept that left or right, and we know it. I mean, we know Washington Post, New York Times. We know L.A. Times.
Yeah, the L.A. Times, San Francisco
Chronicle, Examiner. Yeah.
Well, it's just interesting how our tolerance is. We're losing it. We've lost it. I think it's safe to say.
But at the same time, we've lost the ability to tolerate things. We've asked for more tolerance, right, from the other side. It's very strange to me. It's like, please have tolerance for this. We have no tolerance for you, but you have to have tolerance for me. And it's a one-way street, and it's very interesting.
We saw it in a huge way during the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
the Bad Bunny thing.
100%.
He was. Everybody wasn't on that team, but people either put up with it or watched it. But there were millions of people that didn't like the idea that he was there. So there you're that. This week we lost 3 people that were very famous, and there's an old thing in a newsroom. Famous people die in threes.
What did that? Before we get into this,
things happen in threes.
But what did that stem from? Was it just statistics?
Planes crash. Major plane crashes happen in threes. Big things happen in threes. I don't know what that is.
Crazy.
Now, sometimes people fudge that.
Yeah.
But they've just declared the 3 are over with. It was James Vanderbeek.
Yes.
It was first, and then second was Robert Duvall, then it was Jesse Jackson.
Yeah, that's crazy. Jesse Jackson was pretty young, but the Vanderbeek was way young, right?
Yeah,
compared to the other two.
The famous people dying.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then you can find plane crashes that are notable. People dying is usually in threes too. Big things happen in threes. I don't dare explain it, but it is a true phenomenon. I've seen it happen. That's many times.
Just crazy. And since you brought it up, I wanted to just talk about it a little bit because of all the actors, and there's been a lot of them. I've loved Sean Connery. I've loved for a time. What's his name? Who's all political now, and I can't watch him anymore. But oh gosh, what's his name? I can't think of it. But I love Robert Duvall. I thought he was. From The Godfather. He was to
you
kill.
Look at his resume.
Oh my gosh!
There are some people that really, really loved the Lonesome Dove miniseries.
Oh,
that
my wife! It's her favorite thing.
It did. It was his favorite thing. That was his favorite.
Was
thing.
it really? I didn't know that.
Yes, it was.
You sat out with him.
Tender Mercies. He won the Oscar for.
Big movie.
And that was a favorite thing of a lot of people. Not me. I was not for. I respected those, but they just weren't great for me. I loved him in The Godfather. I thought Tom Hagen.
That was great.
He hung in there, right in there with Pacino and everybody else. He was never a minor person in that. He was a young actor. He was great in so many. Apocalypse Now. That soldier
Huge.
He played. The movie was not. I didn't think was very good. I didn't like the movie, but the part that Duvall was in, I loved. That was so well done.
He does it with every role, Jimmy. I remember watching
it. He owned it.
I watched a movie called Secondhand Lions.
That's a great film.
Oh
Great
man,
film.
fantastic! The
And
Judge,
The Apostle is a great
another
film.
great one. Another
And
great
he
one.
he was raw behind. He directed that, and it had a lot to do with it. And I think June
Wow,
Carter Cash was in it. I interviewed him for a lot of movies. He
I
was in The
thought you
Paper.
did.
I did him a lot of times, 5 or 6 or 7,
Wow.
and hung out with him in a bar at the down Four Seasons.
Was he
in
a
Los
nice
Angeles.
guy? I mean, when
Oh,
you,
he was, and he was fun to talk to because he knew I was a Nashville guy.
yeah,
And so we talked about Johnny and June and
oh yeah,
Waylon, people that he liked.
yeah.
He had stayed with Johnny and June. We did talk about once a guy that was a friend of mine that turned out to be somebody he hated,
Oh wow.
but he got into it, was a producer named Chips Moment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Somewhere in there, Duvall wanted to cut an album, because he kind of hung out with a lot of bands and did music in tender mercies.
A country album?
He
Or?
was going to do it well, what you would call Americana, probably
Okay, yeah,
today.
yeah.
But he, it was acoustic, and Chips Mobile was going to did it. In fact, he did do it, and he stayed in Nashville for a number of days
I'll be darned.
to do it. He stayed in a crappy motel. I saw him standing outside this motel one time. I said, "Jesus, that's Robert Duvall. It can't be." I think I even went back around the block to see if that was right.
And you
'Cause
were.
It was a homeless person trying to look like Robert Duvall, but no, it was Duvall. And then we talked about it later that he stayed this little motor court. It was only like 2 houses up the street,
Yeah.
where the recording studio was. But that album never got out, and it's in a vault somewhere, and it never got released.
You think
And
we'll
it was
see it now that he's passed away?
No, because it got caught up, and Chips has died, and now Duvall is dead, and these estates. I don't know where that is. I mean, I don't know where that album is and who's got it, and if a bank has it or God knows what. But anyway, that was a real sore subject with him,
Yeah.
because he had spent time doing it. But he was, he lived the last number of years. Well, he lived probably the last 20 years at least, maybe even longer than that. Certainly all the 2000s, he had 2 different homes, 2 different farms in Virginia. And the last one was a place called The Plains, which is about an hour, if that, from Dulles Airport in Virginia, which isn't very far. So he could have gone. But, he was 95.
Yeah, he had a good full life. I mean, he was in To Kill a Mockingbird in 1962.
Oh, he was a kid. He was in Bullet.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
he was a
that's
cab
right.
driver in Bullet.
That's right.
And he was just great. He was a great guy, great, and I was real glad to have ever known him. And he was in Colors. That was a earthy thing. He acted with everybody.
Yeah, he did.
He had a lot of fame. And I tell you what was really cool. I've talked about this with Dustin Hoffman, because he's another one I've interviewed a lot over the years.
I like him too.
Robert Duvall, Dustin Hoffman, and Gene Hackman were roommates in New York
Oh my
before they were ever established as actors. They were going to acting class, but together. But they had to work. One of them worked at Macy's, I think. Duvall was driving he worked at the post office. I can't remember. Somebody was an orderly at a mental institution or something, and one worked at Macy's, and somebody had a baby. I don't remember it. They got all kinds of stories about that. But that was quite. Can you imagine those 3 guys living together?
Yeah,
But they didn't have any money, and they're all just trying to make it.
yeah, and they all made it, and they all made it
And
big.
they all superstars. They didn't just make it
superstars.
iconic people. All 3 of them. And,
He has a bit of a legacy. So I full life 95. Wow.
Full life 95. He was a dancer. He loved the tango, and he married a dancer.
Did he really?
From in South America, yeah. He was married before, but he had this last one, Luciana, I think was her name. He was married to her for 20, 30, a long time.
I'll be
Beautiful dancer, and he loved to dance. He was a.
Do you have, Jimmy, do you have any of those interviews online?
Yes, all of them.
Okay,
are
so
on there.
tell people where they can
Jimmy
find
Carter,
them.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
On my YouTube channel is Ask Jimmy Carter. And then you just put in Robert Duvall. And I interviewed him for the one called The Paper.
Oh,
That was a Ron Howard movie.
I remember that.
I've got him for the Preacher one. We talked about a Merle Haggard movie he was going to make but never got made.
Oh, that would have been great.
We had several. I can't remember all the movies. Secondhand Lions was one of them for sure.
I'm going to go back and watch that because the movie was great, but I want to go back and watch the interview. So I'll go over to the website. And
He was just good. Great. He was just one of those people that was really good. I know my daughter is thrilled today that Miley Cyrus is going to have a special
Oh,
on Disney Channel next month. And she
okay.
was a big deal,
Back in
for
the day, yeah.
back in the day for those kids.
Yeah,
Big,
no
big
doubt.
deal.
No doubt.
And then people get mean again. Now, this is when James Vanderbeek died,
Hmm.
he had cancer and he has
Yeah.
been fighting cancer for a couple of years. Now, some of right after he died, someone decided, friends, to put up a GoFundMe thing because he's got six
Oh,
children.
yeah. What's going on with
Six
that?
children.
Hmm.
Well, they raised $2.6 million in the GoFundMe page, but there's a backlash on it because supposedly they purchased an expensive home in January before he died. And there's just, people just mean. If
Yeah.
somebody wants to give somebody money like James Vanderbeek because he gave them joy with the shows that he did,
Yeah,
it's their
sure.
business. Leave them alone. But people have to be
They
so
they
mean.
can't. They can't. It's on social media and they cannot leave it alone.
It's
I
just
mean,
people just are angry. There's a lot of people out there in the world that are just angry.
mhm.
And boy, I don't know. They need to do. It's bad.
It
It's
is
really
bad, and
it's sad. And I guess the internet gives them a room. These angry people that are frustrated or sad, it gives them something to do or whatever. But I just hate to see all that poison stuff all the time. And people are just I got it, and I understand where some of them come from
Yeah,
on
sure.
some of this stuff, but I was saying that there's a part of Nashville that has these license tag readers
Mhm.
all over the community. It's the really upper income area called Belmead. Almost every telephone pole has a license tag reader.
Mhm.
So nobody's going to go in there and get away with too much
Yeah.
without it being seen. And I was saying, if they just put these on major intersections and stuff like that in Tucson, which they did, but apparently, like the ring, they either didn't work or they weren't very good. They needed to be updated so it'd
The
be a
old cameras
higher
or something.
quality. Yeah. And oh boy, people lit it up saying, no, thank you, F you, no, thank you, because we've been turned into a society that's staring at each other. Well, the criminals are so far ahead of us. So, I don't understand. It's like people are against having ring doorbells because that's like somebody, you don't have your privacy.
Mhm.
I have trouble just understanding those people, but they are a lot of people out there that don't think we should have, any type of thing. But listen, folks, if you don't know it, you're being surveilled every 2 seconds of your life. If you have a cell phone, they know
Oh,
exactly
yeah.
where you are all the time if you have a
I
phone
mean,
number.
honestly, Jimmy, how many times? I mean, you have Amazon or Google Home or Siri. I know you have Siri. I'm walking through the house. I have Google Home. I'll be walking through the house, and all of a sudden, I'll hear it go bloop,
Oh, it's all the
and I'm
time.
not talking to it.
Hey,
It's
Alexa, are you listening?
I'm designed to protect your privacy. You will know when I'm listening to your request. Just look for a visual indicator on your device or listen for an audio tone. Learn more by visiting amazon.com/Alexa privacy.
she
Thank
had to
you.
be listening, or she couldn't have heard you say that.
Right, right.
You're welcome, Jimmy.
What? Wow, you guys
So
are
I'm
tight.
telling you, it's just get over it, folks. I don't like it. Well, then you need to throw your phone into the toilet because it's beeping
Yes,
it's giving out where it is all the time.
all the time, and
And your internet, if you're on the internet, on social media or Facebook, they know that you're a man or you're a woman. They know your
your
age. They
face.
know everything about you.
They do, and I remember when the Idaho college murder case was in play, and they were talking about looking for the perpetrator via triangulating the phone and using the tracking system software in the phone.
They're
and
so
could,
much better at that now too.
Oh, and they could tell when you turn off location services. They'll still know where you are. That's not going to hide where you are.
There's just
They'll
you're
find
just
you.
under surveillance. And listen, if you're not doing anything wrong, then what? Then no one. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I would
But
agree.
your credit card, when you use that, anything you're doing in society
Mm-hmm.
can be tracked. Now, why they can't find Nancy Guthrie, I don't
That's
know.
a great
I mean,
question.
to me, it's bizarre because these people, I guess they did not have a cell phone. They uh, they didn't get tracked somewhere in their vehicle somehow.
And their DNA does not show up in
Their DNA
any
didn't show
national.
up anywhere, and
You know, you and I talked about Mexico. I said, can they make it to Mexico? And maybe
but
that's
we
where
supposedly have got all kinds of whiz bang stuff at the border.
they.
We know
How
everything
they
that's going,
miss them?
coming, and going. So
Yeah.
they would have. And you know, and here, there's a video the other night. There was this criminal that jumped out of his car and the police were chasing him, and he ran and got between these two houses and was ahead of the cops. But he got into the trash can, and so they've got guns pulled and they're running into the neighborhood. Well, the helicopter above
Yeah.
had heat-seeking radar and had FLIR, forward-looking infrared camera,
Yeah.
and they saw that the trash can was heated up. It had a body heat in the trash.
And
You
they
could see
nailed
through
him.
the trash can.
Yeah.
And they said, "Hey, he's in the trash can. You know, the side of the house. Go a little bit to the right, a little bit. You got him. You got him." And they said, "Come out." Then you see him getting out of the trash can. It was just his image, the heat image.
Too easy.
People
Too
are
easy.
just silly if they don't understand. There's satellites above you if there's a clear sky that can read the tag number of your car.
Yeah.
There's
From millions of miles away.
well, not millions, but a lot of miles.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
You know, and that's been able. And they've been able to do that for a long time.
Yeah.
And God knows what they can do today.
Oh, there's
So
technology we don't know about that they're using.
there's a lot of technology we don't know
Yes, sir.
about. So
Yes, sir.
yes, and if so, I would like to be able to catch more criminals. And if that means we've got to up the game a little bit and start putting in some camera things around and stuff like that in order to make our places more safe. But you know, no, the hillbillies, they want to, oh, you're gonna read my mind, or you're gonna be able to do something. Well, good. So when the boogeyman comes and gets you in your house, we're not going to be able to find the boogeyman because he's smarter than we are in our technology. I just don't have. I want to be up to date with stuff, but it's just. It's the world is a frustrating place at times.
It is.
You know,
and
when people, it's dragging people, you know, along the way into the future. You know, people didn't want to go to the moon. People don't want to do this. They hate Elon Musk for whatever the reasons they hate Elon Musk.
there is a whole group of people that do not want change no matter what.
They don't want change. They don't like technology. They're not adjusting to technology. And what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm slow with some things, but eventually, like you're talking about, we come around. We carry around the phones. We know they're tracking us. Everybody's got a phone. Even the people that say, "Oh, I've got a burner," you know, there's some way to track that. I'm sure.
Oh, you can check the burners. They know where you bought them.
Yeah, all of it.
They can find it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult if you got a burner, but they really have got an eye on burners because they know they're used for monkey business.
what else are they used for? Right.
Right. So
People
what
doing shady stuff.
shady stuff. So same way with the bitcoins that they've gotten now, I understand a little more tracking on those things than they did for a time.
Which they needed. I mean, they needed
to do that.
I often thought about that with Bitcoin. I thought, what a great way to launder money. If they can't
Yeah, well,
track
so
it, I
did
mean,
everybody thought of that for a while, and then
Yeah.
I think they claimed that the blockchain thing. Anyway, it's more
yeah.
not so sneaky.
Okay, so my takeaway today is have some tolerance, people. That's it.
Well, I mean, we try. At least know that you're intolerant. Don't change your values. Don't change what you believe in.
Okay, fair.
But just sometimes a differing opinion might be correct, and so you need to listen to it. Then you say, "Well, I don't like that." Then that's fine. But we need to have discussion about things. That we need to not just think that our way is the only way to do it, and our way might be the right way. But sometimes, you know, I never met anybody that couldn't be coached.
I agree. A lot of times you get a job, and
Every
that's what
football player in the world
they want. That
is want coach, and then maybe they don't want to coach all the time, but everybody needs a little something, and we just don't have any tolerance for anything. And quit being so mean on the internet.
Yeah,
you know,
fact.
I wish people couldn't be on there and have the names like, you know, Whiskey Man or something like that. I wish you had to say your name.
Yeah.
Cut out a lot of this foolishness that's going on out there.
You know, when you register that Facebook account or whatever, you have to give them your real name, but you don't have to use it.
People don't want it. People that are mean, they're saying all this mean stuff about people.
Yeah, I don't
she's
like
so
that.
fat, she's so ugly,
Yeah, I don't
because they're not. Their real name is not out there.
Yeah.
So these people can be anonymous. I think that was a bad decision
Yeah.
overall.
I don't disagree. I don't
You
disagree.
know, so I mean, there are changes that need to be done in a lot of stuff to cut out a lot of, but people still be mean. But I just think there's just a lot of poisonous activity on social media that's a shame because there's a lot of good things about social media, a lot of great things about the internet, but you know, it needs some rules. Life needs rules. If we didn't have rules, you know, yeah, you can choose to break them. I break them all the time on the speed limits
Sure.
and doing a Hollywood stop at a stop sign and stuff like that. But if we didn't have any of that stuff, we'd have anarchy.
Yeah.
And we
I
don't
mean,
want
you're
to live
not
like
wrong.
that either. So, you know, somewhere in between, you know, there needs to be rules and everything. You can, some of the ones you decide you don't want to do, just deal with consequences afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So
You knew what the
if you're going to
consequences
do
would be.
things, there need to be consequences.
I don't disagree. Jimmy, until we do this all again next week, I am
Okay.
I'm Derek Walker. He is
Jimmy Carter.
Good day.
Good day.